All right, hey guys, welcome to Ask Laird's Training, episode 5. I've been gone for a while. A couple months ago, I got hit in the face and had an orbital bone fracture, tripod fractures was the name of it was called, but it really messed up my nerve. I still have nerve damage. I'm still dealing with a lot of stuff, and I've done a couple of videos since then, but I haven't done an Ask Laird's Training, but now I'm starting to be able to talk for at least a little bit longer than when I was talking without it being too unbearable and too much of the nerve kind of tingling through the face. I still gonna have it. There's a chance I might have it for the rest of my life, so hopefully, that doesn't happen. But I wanted to make sure I reached out to you guys because I did an Instagram video the other day, just a short clip about the importance of having a hitting routine and making sure you're doing tee work during the season. That way you can make sure that you're killing it and being consistent, but also knowing your swing and learning your swing and kind of understanding those things. And I got a question for one of my guys, and it wasn't that he was asking, but kids are constantly asking, hey, what are these drills that you're doing? The drills that I'm showing them in our lessons and stuff. Why are you doing this stuff? And little things like that. And I figured I'd just turn it into an Ask Laird's Training. And I got a bunch of questions I want to address for the future episodes that I'm going to address here in the near future. But I want to address this now, especially since season is up and running, basically up here in Indiana. So for high school guys. There's 3 main reasons why hitting drills are important, and that's pretty much what this is about. Why are hitting drills important, and why are hitting routines important? And you can apply this to pitching, you can apply this to defense, you can apply this to a lot of things in life outside of the game of baseball too. But first and foremost, muscle memory. Okay, three rules I would apply by that this is important. But number 1 is muscle memory, and hitting to me, and some guys might disagree, but of all the sports, hitting is probably the most learned trait that needs repetitions. Like, you can't just hit 2 months out of the year and be a superstar. For me, I believe that you've got to be able to hit consistently a lot. Now, younger guys that are playing multiple sports, ignore that part right now, but even then, you can't just not hit. It's got to be something you're doing daily, especially in season. But if you're wanting to develop yourself into an elite hitter, you have got to work on hitting day in, day out throughout the year, especially when it comes to hitting drills. Now, muscle memory. Why I love hitting drills, they can change your swing. In my opinion, you can go from an average ball player to an above average ball player, a guy that's below average to average, just by implementing the right kind of hitting drills to help you learn the movement patterns, the proper movement patterns, have that muscle memory, have the right, upswing through the hitting zone in your bat path, little things like that. Instead of having this, if somebody's got real big, negative swing path, attack angle, might have to change some drills to kind of work on him, getting that slot down and getting kind of up through the hitting zone. So that way his barrel's in the hitting zone for a long period of time and it gets on plane early. There are certain drills that you can do to kind of help those things and really develop guys. So muscle memory, first and foremost, most important. And, back in my, I would say my Little League to Babe Ruth years back when I played, I didn't really understand the importance of it because I was always better than a lot of the players, just physically more gifted. And as I got older, I started, especially in high school, even though I was still doing really well and didn't really struggle in high school, I understood that the hitting drills the more I did my drills, the better I was doing on the field, basically. And that's something that you've got to put to yourself. Don't just mindlessly hit and be like, give me another rep, give me another rep, give me another rep. Focus on the quality of your reps. Focus on the hitting drills that help your swing be a good, strong, healthy swing. And if you don't know what a good swing is, get a hitting instructor, ask your baseball coach, hey, give me some details of what I need to be looking for in my swing on video and on pictures and so forth. So muscle memory first and foremost. Number 2, learning your swing. 90% of my guys have no idea what the hell they're doing. They don't have any idea what they're doing. And saying that, I think it's important for all hitters to know what a proper swing path is, but also know what you feel when you're doing that proper swing path. You can't just be a guy that relies on, I feel really good today, I'm going to hit the ball really well today. I don't know exactly what I'm doing, but I'm barreling the ball up, so I'm just going to roll with this until a slump happens. Learning your swing and knowing your swing will help prevent slumps. It'll help prevent those down times and help you get out of those quickly. Everybody's going to get into a downtime hitting, but the more you know your swing, the sooner you can get out of a bad part of your swing. So to me, if I know, hey, I have a tendency of pulling off the baseball, right? Maybe I have a tendency of kind of looking pull too much. Maybe my approach, right, knowing my swing and knowing how I am, I need to think more right center, which is what I had to do as a hitter in college to really be effective. I could still hit those low 90s inside fastballs as long as I was sitting there and I was on plane and staying through the baseball. I had to think right center to prevent me from pulling off the baseball. Okay, so that's part of learning your swing. And everybody's a little bit different. You hear MLB guys talk about, some guys swear that they go down to the ball. Some guys swear, oh, I'm swinging up to the ball and I'm getting, this big uphill or upswing motion. Here's the thing, okay? Whatever a guy feels, as long as we are looking at the bat path and it looks right and is the proper bat path, the elite bat path, the type of bat path that these MLB guys have, I could give two shits what a guy feels as long as it feels right to him and it's working the right way and the bat path is correct. Now, there are times to intervene and say, hey, just because you're hitting and tearing it up against 1A pitching, that doesn't mean that your bat path is right and you're going to do it against elite pitching. What I mean is, if he has an elite bat path already, okay, and he's performing and doing well, or he or she is doing well against elite competition, who cares if he thinks he's got to swing down on the ball? That's his mindset. That's his approach. That's in his head to get to the ball in the air. Who cares if somebody needs to think the bottom half of the ball, and hitting it into the outfield? Whatever their approach is, as long as they're hitting with power, in my opinion, I want guys to hit with power gap to gap. Now, there's certain guys that aren't going to necessarily hit with power, but we're still thinking line drives gap to gap. If they feel a certain thing that you might not agree with, who cares? As long as what you see on video, as long as what you see and the results are getting those line drive swings and getting that ball hit into the outfield, which is what we want when we hit the ball on the green in the outfield, drive that ball gap to gap, it doesn't matter, right? And that's part of learning your swing. Maybe you need to think more top of the ball certain times. On high pitches, high velocity, I had to think top of the ball. On lower pitches, I had to think more bottom of the ball. That was just my approach. Even though I know I wasn't hitting the top of the ball, which I've talked about before and you've heard me talk about before, that was what I felt. Because sometimes I would get too big, and I feel like I get too big because I was a power hitter in college, and I felt like I was trying to get too big and I'd get underneath the ball. Okay? So I had to change my approach. Again, feel versus real. So knowing your swing and knowing what you need to do, if you're a pull-off type of guy, if you're a guy that kind of has a tendency of working around the ball and you got to really work on staying inside the ball, those hitting drills and those routines that you have to do day in and day out, that's what's going to help you and help you learn your swing and know what you need to do and know this drill is going to help you do it. It'll help you achieve your goals, right? Number 3, and this is probably the most important, is keeping your swing consistent. So muscle memory, once we find our swing, right? So we're going to find our swing. Number 2, learning our swing, knowing what our flaws are and what we need to work on to be stronger, right? And then the consistency, number 3, that's most important. So I want to be consistent with my muscle memory, and I want to be consistent, right, learning my swings. You're going to learn new things about your swing all the time. As long as you play, you'll learn new things about your swing. So to be consistent, and one thing, I'll give you a little story time right now. One thing that pissed me off when I was in college is I would hit so well for like 3-4 weeks. I felt like I was untouchable, unstoppable. I would absolutely tear it up. I think it was my sophomore year. I hit like 400 in conference, almost 400. It was like 398 in conference, in the Sun Belt Conference, and I was doing really, really well. But out of conference, which is what most of our games early were, I struggled a little earlier, I wasn't hitting as high. And so, man, why did I do so much better at the end of the year? And I was really trying to figure these things out, and it was right towards the end of my sophomore year of college, I started really learning, hey, man, I'm doing better when I'm focusing on these drills that are kind of helping me work on staying on the ball, keeping my front side from pulling off, helping me be explosive through the baseball, and focusing more on line drives and BP instead of home runs. I'm not an advocate of trying to hit home runs and BP because I feel like since the ball is coming in slower, your attack angle can be a little bit bigger, right? And the effects of the swing, yeah, you might hit a home run, but you might be a little big in BP, right? And then that transition to the game when somebody's throwing 90 to 95, your attack angle is too big, and then boom, you foul the ball off. You just miss it this much. So I learned, hey, the shorter I felt in BP, the quicker my hands felt, the more I focused on line drives, that was the more consistent my swing was. So again, why are hitting drills important? Why is a hitting routine important? My routine in BP, line drives, focusing on right center field. My inward turn drill and my high tee work, low and away work, those are the things that I focused on in my pregame hitting routine. That's what made me consistent. As soon as I figured those things out, my last couple of years I was really doing well. I battled with injuries, and I wish I could have not had those injuries, but that was what it was. That was what God had planned for me. So when I figured out these drills and these routines, I was more consistent. And I had my last 2 years were my best 2 years in college by far. So understand, like, just because other guys aren't doing a routine, especially at the high school level, you guys are talking before games, hey, focus on your routine, man. You're there to get better. Why are you doing something? It's just like with me, I talk about my business. If I'm not striving to be the best at running my business, running Laird's Training, then what am I doing it for? If you're not striving to be the best hitter that you can be, what are you doing it for, right? What's going to help you become the best hitter, right? Just some things to think about, guys. I had to address this because I got asked this question. It kind of irritated me because there's kids that are, hey, why are you doing these drills? And why is this helping you? You know, BP's enough. And I want you to understand, everybody is different. Coaches, as long as you're teaching the right back path, as long as you're teaching what we should do, get inside their heads. They're going to talk to you. You know, once they learn to talk to you, feel comfortable talking to you, they're going to tell you what they feel. They're going to tell you what they feel when they're doing this, what they feel when they're doing, you know, that. If they're hitting ground balls too much, they're going to feel what they're doing. Hey, let's change that feel. Let's change the aim. Let's change that approach. Let's get that ball, you know, line drives. Let's hit those balls gap to gap. Let's get that ball in the air so we can do some damage against that competition, right? So understand, hitting drills, your hitting routines, huge, okay? All right, guys, so like the video. Make sure you guys subscribe. Until next time, guys, I'll see you later.